Hello, welcome to the channel. Today we're looking at two different high street stores. Inspired by the autumn weather, I've been out and about a little bit in the English countryside, and I was looking at, casual sort of trans-seasonal early autumn outfits, and I was looking for a few additional items, maybe a bit of knitwear, maybe something like a gilet or a light jacket that would be suitable for this early autumn sort of sunny weather, but where it can be a little bit nippy in the mornings and later in the day. That's what I'm looking at this week. If you haven't been here before, I'm Claire Francis. Welcome to the channel. If you have been here before, welcome back. So I've been into Joules and done a little look around, a shopping trip there, and I've been into Crew Clothing. Luckily in both places they did let me film. However, I was there on my own this week. I didn't have my trusty assistant with me, so the video may not be quite as clear as usual, but I'll try and show you some pictures of the items alongside if that's the case. So let me show you what I kept from last week's haul. So these are sort of foundation pieces I've got. So yes, they are basic foundation pieces. I kept the cream jumper. This was a mixed fibre jumper, no wool, but it has got some cotton in it. So it feels quite warm and substantial, but it's not too warm. I think the wool content would have made it that little bit hotter. I'm really looking for something that's okay sort of this time of year where it's still reasonably warm. And I also kept the jeans. So these are the pin tuck jeans from M&S, wide leg. And I kept the brown leather belt that I got. So they're the three items I kept from my M&S haul. And I wanted some things to go with those basically. So here we are going into Joules on a nice sunny autumn day. Bright striped fleece there. And then a very casual plain sort of fleece. Wasn't so keen on either of those. Nice bright jumper here. Now this is pink, but they do the jumper in cream. That Fair Isle style was quite on trend last year. Now this is lovely. This is a knitted vest. There's various designs. This is the sheep one. Very popular with younger influencers. £49, so not cheap, but it does feel a really nice quality. Striped cotton type shirt there, long sleeve t-shirt, and the fleece there, that's one of their sort of premium type products. Really nice quality fleece with the zip and the long sleeves there in the navy blue. Then, oh, this was really nice, a knitted vest, and there's different designs available. This is the fox, obviously. Felt a really nice quality vest, actually. I really liked that. And the price was £59, so not cheap, but it did feel nice quality. They're very on trend this year, those sleeveless knitted vests or tank tops. Liked that. And then something completely different. Here we've got a polka dot blouse in burgundy. It's a bow tie one. I didn't particularly like that. I tried it on. I did like it in theory. Looks really nice, and I do like that style of shirt, but when I actually tried it on, it didn't do anything for me, and the bow was too fussy. It was £65, but it was very bulky on the neck area with the bow. Now this I liked. This is like the jacket I showed you previously, but this is the gilet version. Really nice quality, as I said. It comes in different colours, so there's the dark green there, there's the burgundy you can see on the side there. This was £65, but I say it is one of their sort of premium quality items. Did really like it. Comes in lots of different colours. Lovely item that. And as I said, apart from the burgundy and the green, it comes in the brown. I think it also comes in navy. So a lot of versatile colours there. Then I spotted this check blazer. Now I've been looking for something like this, so I thought this had potential. I did quite like it. Quite a pricey item though. Oh, I like the gold buttons there on the sleeves. I thought they made it look quite classy. Tried it on though and it didn't do anything for me. Quite expensive as well. I think it was £149, but it felt like a sort of man's blazer. It had no shape. Then we've got these knitted cardigans here, the sleeveless version. Thought they were really nice. Came in the striped and then various colours, as you could see. And then I thought this brown one was nice. So the gold buttons, quite a heavy knit, felt quite substantial. A little bit pricey there, £48, but again, I think good quality. Felt really nice, quite fluffy. This is a very popular little style bag, a bit like an osprey bag. Comes in lots of different colours and sizes. And then we had some accessories. Then we're back to the fox design. So this is in the jumper form, which I thought was nice. And this is one of their premium jackets, the quilted jackets with the details on the shoulder. I think this one is one of the sporting event ones. It's got the logo on the front there, but really nice, expensive, £129. So quite a lot of nice items there. I'll tell you a bit later if I actually purchased anything. Let's now have a look at Crew clothing then. So I went into Crew as well. They actually had an offer on at the moment. 30% off all the outerwear and knitwear, so it was an ideal time to buy up things like jumpers and jackets and things like that. So let's have a look at what I saw when I was there. So we're going into Crew clothing now. You can see the 30% sign, 30% off outside. So the first item is this big fleece, quite a substantial fleecy jacket with a proper collar there. And that was quite expensive. It was £139 that I thought was quite pricey. Not sure about that. And then there was well, you can see the different colours here. Nice navy jumper there. I really like that little striped jumper. Felt quite a substantial knit. Really nice, very versatile obviously. And you can see the colours there, the sort of navies and the sort of raspberry red there. Interesting colourways. And then the next item, oh yes, I wanted to show you this red cable knit jumper. It's sort of a berry red. It's not exactly bright red. It's not exactly pink. It's sort of somewhere in the middle, but obviously they're well known for those jumpers, the cable knit jumpers. Then a little bit of leopard print here. So you can see there's a nice little leopard print cardigan. Quite a cropped length, I think that is. Don't think it would probably suit me personally that well, but really nice. And that was £59. Thought that was quite unusual. More leopard print. There was actually a dress in leopard print. Now I couldn't find this on the website, but it is in store. And it was sort of a shirt dress style actually, sort of midi type length I think it would have been, and a tie waist there. So if you like the leopard print, there is a little bit of that still in store. Not sure on the price. Let's have a look. How much was that? £89, yeah, so reasonable price for a dress. Then the jumper here I'm going to show you is like the navy jumper I just showed you, but this is the long sleeve version. So it's the reverse colourways, white with a blue stripe, and it's the long sleeve version. I did like the sort of thickness and the quality of this, felt really nice. Not sure on the price of that. Then obviously there's all the cable knit jumpers. They do lots and lots of different colours, as you can see. They do the V-neck, they do the crew neck. This one was, let's have a look, £59. So that's the sort of standard price. And they also had lots of other nice plain jumpers. This one is nice plain stitch. I can't remember what it's called. Is it a whip stitch or something? That was £49, and it's a very interesting colour, again a sort of berry reddy pinky colour. Crew are well known for their sort of sporty type apparel, and this obviously has sort of cricket vibes, a cream coloured cricket style jumper. So hope you enjoyed having a look at my shopping trip there. I did find it quite tiring actually. I tried quite a few things on, and because I went by myself, as I said, it wasn't quite as easy as normal. But I did on the way back. I actually met up with my partner and we went to a really nice National Trust property in Wimborne, which is quite near where I live, and spent a little bit of time in the autumn sunshine there, which was nice. Okay, back to the shopping. So what did I buy? I don't know if you've got any thoughts or you've thought about what you think I might have bought. I actually bought a couple of items. So I bought one thing in Joules, and it's this. So I actually went for one of the Gilets, which as I said is something I was looking for. It's this fleece gilet. It's a lovely quality fleece though, and you can see there the quality of the zip is excellent. It's a really nice chunky gold zip. And then it's got the two pockets here with the popper fastenings. Now I had a bit of a problem size-wise. The 14 that I tried on in store did fit me, but it came up a little bit short and it was quite snug. And I was thinking, you know, sometimes you want to wear quite a chunky jumper under this sort of thing. So I did randomly decide to buy the 16, even though when I tried it on, it felt a little bit big. But when I got to the till, I said to the lady, you know, I am having problems deciding which one to get. And she said, go for the bigger one, because inside it has this little toggle thing here, which means you can actually bring the waist in, and as well as bringing the waist in, it actually does bring the hip area in. So as you know, I'm more like a 14 on top and a 12 bottom. So sometimes things are a little bit tight across the bust, but then it looks too big on the hips. Whereas with this one, because you can cinch it in, actually it's amazing. It actually completely changes the shape and the look of the size, and the 16 then was a much better option because it means I can fit jumpers and things like that underneath it. There was plenty of room around the armholes here, and cinching it in at the waist, it does give you quite a nice sort of shape. So I'll just show you this on. So apologies, I should really have a longer sleeve jumper on underneath, but I've got a short one. So just you can see there, it's quite roomy there, which means I can get a chunkier jumper through. You can see the fit of it there. I have brought the waist in a little bit, so I can bring it in a bit further though, and that means the hip area sort of goes back a little bit snug. Let me show you with it tightened up slightly. So from my point of view, it's really good as well, because although it's a high funnel neck, you can have it zipped up right like that. It does actually lie quite flat and you can use it as a V-neck as well. So for me, a V-neck is much better because it cuts that bust area in half. And you can see there it's fitting now really nicely at the waist, and then the hip area doesn't look too big either. So that was a really good compromise. Again, I was being very indecisive. I actually bought the burgundy colour first of all, because it does come in about 4 colours. I think it comes in burgundy, the green, the brown and the navy. I bought the burgundy one, but when I got it outside the shop and I looked at it, it actually looked a little bit too pinky purple. It was actually sort of going more towards the purple side. And I was thinking, will this go with everything I want it to go with? So I actually went back in and I swapped it for the green. So I've got this, it's sort of between an olive green and a forest green, quite dark, but I think that will go with a lot of colours. It will look all right with burgundy, it'll look all right with brown, it would look okay with navy. So I thought that was quite a good compromise. And you can see it has this sort of faux leather detail all round the edges of it, which actually elevates it and makes it look like a really nice piece. I mean, to me, it has vibes of something like Barbour or Holland Cooper or something like that, but a fraction of the price. So this was £65, which I think for the quality, the feel of it is actually really good. And the 16 did come up that little bit longer. So I'm glad I actually got this. I don't always like going up and buying a 16, but sometimes it's much better not to look at the label and just go on the fit. But it's really beautiful fleece, feels absolutely lovely. And I say the quality of the buttons and the zip and the piping as well, I think really elevates it into quite a classy sort of countryside look. And the second thing I got, so this is going into crew clothing now, was a jumper. So it's one of these jumpers I showed you on the video earlier, and I don't know if the colour's going to come up properly on camera there. It's actually sort of a deep raspberry sort of red. It's difficult to describe. It's not a burgundy, it's not just a pink, it's not a red, it's somewhere in between all those colours. And I just thought a pop of colour would be nice. You know, I'm buying so many neutral things now, and I know some of you find the sort of neutral basics a little bit boring. So I just thought I'd add a little bit of colour in. I think this is probably quite a good colour for my complexion as well. So I really like this jumper. You can see the stitch there. It's that sort of, I don't know what that's called. Is it a pearl or I don't know, I'm not quite sure of the name of that stitch there. The only thing, I would have bought more of these, and the only thing was in the shop I did see one that had a little pull on it, and I was thinking, if this is the sort of jumper that pulls, I don't want to buy too many until I've tried it out. You can see there I actually got the 12, which is big enough on me. As I've said to you many times before, I don't like to have too many big oversized things because it emphasizes then my bigger top half, which contrasts with then very small hips and legs. So I've kept it as a 12, which I think was a reasonable fit. I'll show you it on in a minute. It's got the nice crew clothing little logo at the bottom there, and it's crew neck, as you can see. I like the fact that the sleeves are up here, you know, not raglan sleeves there. That's quite good for me, I think. And I just thought the colour was lovely. And I thought, yes, it will go with brown. Yes, it will go with navy. May not go with burgundy quite as well, but you know, I could see quite a few options with this, and I just thought it was something that was a really lovely sort of brighter colour, but there's something about it that looks autumnal. It's just got that sort of slightly browny red tone to it as well. So I was really happy with this. Now it was, well, it would have been £49, and I think it came up as something like £34. I'll have a look at the composition. I'll put that on the screen for you. I'm not sure what it was, but I thought for £34, that's really good. And I was very tempted to buy the white one, or the off-white one, sort of a light cream. But again, I thought I'd just see how this one wears. I might then get the lighter one, but obviously I have just bought a cream jumper. But, you know, lighter neutral colours, although they may be a little bit boring, they do go with everything. And that means that any jacket, any coat you can wear, it will go with. This is the jumper on. You can see, so I just show you the neck there. It's a reasonably high crew neck. Length of the sleeves is good, so they're plenty long enough there. And you can see as a 12, this is plenty roomy enough for me. I have actually got my little under vest, knitted vest on as well. So that is big enough. I don't think I needed to go up any further. So that's a 12 on me. And really I am probably a 14 on top. So I found that plenty big enough, and the length is fine. It just comes sort of right to the top of my hips there. So really like this little jumper. Thinks it, you know, quite nice for adding a little pop of colour when everything else might be very neutral. But as I said, I think this will go well with navy. It will go with the brown as well, the dark brown that I've got. So I'm really happy with this. And that was the only 2 items I bought from my first shopping trip there. However, it's a little bit later in the day now, and I've just popped out and happened to go to a local Crew Clothing, and I've actually seen they've got a sale on. So they've now reduced slightly more things like the jumpers with the cotton in, some of their shirts and that type of thing. I think they're making way for their more woolen, heavier jumpers. So I've got one more item to show you, which is this little striped jumper. If you remember, I tried it on before. I was sort of umming and ahhing over it. But when I got there, I found out it's now £29, and it is a lovely little jumper. It feels quite substantial. I'll put the fabric composition on the screen for you there. It's actually, you know, fairly substantial, but as I said, no wool in it. It's not overly hot. So I think that's a lovely little jumper. I'll try it on and just show you. Here's the jumper on. I got the 12 because I wanted it to be sort of tight fitting so it can go under a blazer. But it's actually a really nice feel, the material. The sleeves are quite roomy there, they're not tight, but it does fit. I wanted it to fit over the bust and then come in. And the fabric feels absolutely lovely. It's really comfortable. And so because they're short sleeves, they're a good length sleeve, but it's brilliant for this sort of trans-seasonal time of the year where it is a little bit warm and you don't necessarily want something really long. And so it would look amazing, I think, under a blazer. That would look really nice. You can create that bit of a V then with it. So I'm really happy with this for £29, and it's well worth a look. As I said, particularly if you don't like wool. I coped last year with sort of 10% wool, but if I wear wool like that, it means that I do have to wear a long vest top underneath, so it's not actually touching my skin. So to have these fabrics that don't have the wool actually for me is quite good. So they seem to be getting rid of some of these, I think, to bring in the wool jumpers, but it's an ideal time to buy. So let me know what you thought of those items, and is Crew Clothing somewhere you would shop normally, or Joules? Let me know your thoughts about that. Do make the most of that 30% off. I'm hoping it's still ongoing when you see this video, if you see it on Saturday or Sunday. Hopefully that will still be on, because I think 30% off, you know, if you're looking for a jacket for autumn or you're looking for a gilet or something like that, you know, you can get a really good price for those things at the moment. So that might be something to have a look at. And just a little bit of feedback on last week's video. I was surprised that a lot of people said they didn't like the pyjamas. So it was these pyjamas here, you can see them. I thought this was a style that everyone wore, and I thought it's one of Marks and Spencer's sort of best-selling lines. They do it in the basic modal fabric, they do it in the satin, you know, all similar sort of styles. So I didn't quite understand what people didn't like about those pyjamas. Very strange. As I said, I'm not a great pyjama person myself, but I've realised now, I think at my age, I should be getting into pyjamas rather than wearing sort of skimpy little night dresses. So I think I'll need to be cosy this winter. So I think the pyjamas is the way to go. I didn't keep them in the end, not necessarily because of the comments, but I wasn't sure about the quality of that modal. I think I'd like to maybe try the satin version and see what they're like. But that was a little bit of a curveball. I didn't really understand why people wouldn't like that, but obviously everyone's entitled to their opinions. And most of you actually like most of the other items. That was nice to hear as well. I always like to get your comments, so thank you for that. And I'd also like to thank all those people who've been watching me now for quite a while. I've been going for just over a year now, about a year and a month, something like that. And it's been a difficult year. It's a big learning curve for YouTube. There's so much to learn. It's much more time consuming than you think. That's the only stress that I'm having at the moment, trying to get the video done for every week. But it is rewarding when you get nice comments for people and you see your subscribers going up and things like that. And certainly I know my M&S videos have been very popular. And thank you so much for your support. If you've been watching me more recently, again, thank you for joining me. And I hope to bring you lots more videos of the same type. I know the Marks and Spencer's ones are very popular, but I'd also like to show you some other ones. And for people who haven't been watching me that long, I'm going to be doing some outfit try-ons and things like that, styling up outfits where you can see more of my existing wardrobe. So next week I'm probably going to be doing something on capsule wardrobes in the autumn. So hopefully you'll tune in for that. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so, subscribe. That would be great. I really look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you and goodbye.